So, you probably read the title. The Philadelphia Wings, the National Lacrosse League team, is dead. They still have a few more weeks to go, but basically, for all intents and purposes, they're gone. They're gone. I don't know whether that's going to be they're just going to cease operations and that's going to be it, or whether they're going to relocate somewhere for next season. I guess technically there is a best case scenario where they find a new owner in the Philadelphia area who keeps them there, but I think that's highly unlikely, especially from everything I've been reading. In fact, that's why it took me a few hours to record this. This video will be going up later today by the time that I'm recording this. But it took me a while to record this because I didn't really understand if it was true or not. I saw some of the rumors in the last couple days and week of oh, maybe there's a team going to Trenton, but the only team that would make sense would be the Philadelphia Wings. And even then, if they did that, I feel like I don't know if they'd be even ceasing operations. They would more so just do it because the rent at the arena in Trenton would be cheaper. Also, because they're trying to rejuvenate that with an ECHL team and all that stuff. I also saw a rumor about relocating to Montreal, but as of now, all we know is that they're ceasing operations just completely, which means they're going to be gone. And to say, I mean, another reason why I got this video late was because I was looking for some Wings apparel to wear. Turns out I don't have any, which means is probably like most people in the Philadelphia area who didn't care about the Wings in the last few years. And I'm not blaming the people. I'm going to get into that in this. This is going to be a bit ranty, a bit rambly. I'll find a way to edit this later. Maybe I'll keep in all these mistakes. Maybe I won't. But yeah, they're gone. And this sucks. It just sucks. I got into this team around 2019 when they came back. Actually, I think they came back in 2018, but I didn't start following them until a year later. In fact, the revival was kind of what got me into the National Lacrosse League. Not as a super big fan, but I interacted a bit with other fans on Reddit, on the NLL Reddit and stuff like that. I went to a game in 2019 against the New York Riptide, which also took place around the same time I was dealing with a lot of personal mental troubles when I was a young lad, a young teenager. And that game really was my escape. And that's how I kind of viewed the Wings for years. Was the sports team in the city of Philadelphia that I don't have to really take too seriously. And I don't have to get super emotional over, unlike Sixers, Flyers, Eagles, Phillies, and to a lesser extent Union. And now they're just folding. They're folding under the ownership of Comcast, specifically Comcast Spectacor. But in the grand scheme of things, they're owned by Comcast. They own the arena, they own the Flyers, and now they are building a new arena, which at first they were like, oh yeah, the Wings will still be a thing by 2031 when that arena is done. By the way, that arena has yet to start literally any sort of preparation. We don't even know the exact location of it. That could be a whole separate rant in and of itself. Maybe I'll do that. My rant on the arena situation. I think it's a whole load of bullshit personally, but what do I know? I'm not a billionaire. But the Philadelphia Wings were owned by Comcast. Now, most people should have guessed from the start that Comcast was not going to really care about this team. That is the bar. The bar is that you put the least bit of effort into the team. Because let it be known, except for maybe Terry Pagula, who owns the Buffalo Bandits, there is none of these owners in the National Lacrosse League are rich by any means. They're decently wealthy, but they're not rich. Comcast was by far the group that had the most money to spend to try to make a team work. Not only that, they were also in the city of Philadelphia, which is by far the biggest market in the National Lacrosse League. It's not even close. Like, you could say Toronto, but the Toronto Rock don't play in Toronto, and they haven't for the last 5 years. They were in the biggest market in the National Lacrosse League, with one of the bigger arenas. Now, I know some people who don't follow this league will say oh well, it's ridiculous to assume they sell an arena. Look at what Terry Pagula did with the Buffalo Bandits. They had better attendance than the Buffalo Sabres some of the last few seasons. Maybe not recently, because the Sabres are actually kind of good now. But the Buffalo Bandits were getting lots of fans. Or even, okay, fine, that's the roof, and that's a little bit difficult to reach. Look at how the Colorado Mammoth do, or the Calgary Roughnecks. And the Calgary Roughnecks are not great this year either. Look at how some of these teams are doing, and they are selling so many. There's so many, and in big cities too. It's not like I've heard some people say oh, the National Lacrosse League needs to move away from bigger cities. Bigger cities can work. So you had a big city in a big market, a big devoted market. Like, who will go to games even when you're big? The Flyers have been fucking awful the last 5 years. They still had some of the better attendance in the NHL. And with billions of dollars. I'm not asking you to spend billions of dollars on a lacrosse team. That'd be ridiculous. But I expect you to pay enough to, you know. I'm expecting you to pay enough so that way you can market the team, people in the city know the team exists, and you can get people through the gate. The Philadelphia Wings could have had some of the best crowds in the league. And in terms of atmosphere, they really never did. Don't get me wrong. The few fans who did go were very devoted fans. And they were very typical Philly fans, for both better and worse. But the crowds just were never big. And I never saw a single commercial. I never saw a single billboard. I saw nothing advertising the Philadelphia Wings. In fact, I wouldn't be shocked if there was a ton of people in Philadelphia who didn't know the team existed. Compare that to even the Philadelphia Union, the MLS team. That team, now don't get me wrong, they're dealing with their own shitty ownership, and I might do a rant on them too because they're fucking pissing me off as of late. But the Philadelphia Wings, there's nobody cared about them. People barely knew they existed. And even the people who knew they existed, they couldn't name a player. They didn't have any Wings merch or anything like that. I had a Wings hat. I don't know where it is. I couldn't find it. But I had more Wings merch than most people, and all I had was one hat. And the team put out the statement today. Both the team and the league put out different statements today over the ceasing of operations. And they said, this is a direct quote that I'm going to read. This wasn't an easy decision, and we considered it carefully. Sure you did. Because nothing screams we tried than a team in the biggest market in the fucking league going 4-12 right now. They're 4-12. They're one of the worst teams in the league. With one of the bigger arenas and one of the bigger markets and the richest owners. You can see why I'm pissed off about this, right? It's one thing if you legitimately didn't have the money. And hell, some teams really don't have the money. A team like the Oshawa Firewolves, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that city right, but the Oshawa Firewolves, they just moved from Albany to Oshawa. Their attendance isn't that much better, and they're they're not doing too hot right now. Or a team in any small market, they're not going to have a lot of money like that. And I get it for those teams, and it sucks for this league because I want the league to be successful just in general. This video is way more focused on just personally with the team, by the way, though. But yeah, 4-12. The team was garbage. Is garbage right now. And I'm reading some of the few fan responses. I say few fan responses because, like I said, there weren't many fans because the ownership just didn't care. They didn't feel like marketing the team properly. And I know some people might watch this video and go, "Oh, who cares? Who cares? It's just a smaller team in a smaller league." Let's put it like this. What were your thoughts on the Oakland Athletics leaving? Or I'll go a step further. In the next 5 years, what are your thoughts going to be when Bob Nutting tries to relocate the Pittsburgh Pirates? Because he's going to do it. He's going to do it as soon as the PNC Park lease is up. You're going to think this is terrible and this is going to be awful for the league. And that's exactly how I feel about the Philadelphia Wings leaving for the NLL. Because this isn't just a team. This isn't just like a normal team who was around for a few years and now they're gone, which I mean, I guess technically that's what they are because they've only been around for like 5 years. But they were in the first version of the NLL in the 70s, they were one of the few teams there, and they had easily the best attendance in the league for those 2 seasons. They came back at the start of the second version of the NLL in the late 80s and were one of the most successful teams in that version. Then that team relocated in 2014 to become the New England Black Wolves. If you wonder how that is, the New England Black Wolves don't exist anymore. So that's how that move went. Then the Wings came back in 2018 under Comcast Spectacor, and they just never cared. They never cared. The team made the playoffs twice, I believe, during their entire existence. It's just ridiculous that they constantly were trading away assets to save money. To save money in a league where the average player gets paid $15,000 a year. That's absurd. Absolutely absurd. They didn't build anything. They didn't market the team at all. And now they're like, oh well, I guess it didn't work out. We tried everything, and we're all out of ideas. And the worst part is like this isn't like again, it's not some random team. It's a team that's name goes back to the 70s. Now they haven't exactly been around since the 70s, but the point is that they've been a thing since the 70s. Think of other sports teams that were made in the 70s. What if the Buffalo Sabres tried to relocate? What if the Vancouver Canucks tried to relocate? You wouldn't be very happy about that, would you? What if the Minnesota Vikings or the Atlanta Falcons or any team from that came around at that time? I should go without saying, this isn't scripted. I have like some notes written on the screen that I'm looking off camera on, but it's more so just an unscripted rant. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if I'm gonna support the league after this. I don't know if I'm gonna watch the NLL anymore. And look, it's not the NLL's fault, for the record. I don't blame the league for this. I'm more so blaming Comcast. But how many times does this kind of thing happen where you have because this is an issue the league has constantly with constant teams ceasing operations and relocating. And like I say, I'm not blaming the league specifically for this, but the league does have a problem with that. Because like how many times does this have to happen where a team is going to leave no matter the history and because the ownership doesn't care before you stop getting invested? Because why should I care if the people running it clearly don't? Yeah, so rest in peace, Philadelphia Wings, 2018 to 2026. What a waste. What a waste. Like, comment if you want to. You can share this video with people. If you would like, you can comment your favorite Wings memories into the comments. I kind of just gave my only major memory, which was the game against the New York Riptide. They don't even exist anymore. New York Riptide in 2019. But you can give your favorite Wings memories. You can give your thoughts on the whole situation. If you want to request other rants, you can put those in the comments. I'm just sad about this. If you couldn't tell, I'm sad and mad. But yeah, that's gonna be about it from me today. I'll see you later. Hopefully with more videos coming soon. This one was just off the cuff because the news came out. I'll see you later.